All right. For anybody who might be listening to this, this is the Criterion CULT podcast. This is the first episode. I'm Jordan. I'm here with three other hosts, Diego, Nacho, and Mondo. And basically, here on the Criterion CULT, what we're going to be doing is talking about films specifically that the Criterion Collection has put out. Basically, what they are is they are a company that restores all kinds of films from all over the world, gives them better quality, better releases, and there's kind of sort of a pedigree to that. If your film gets chosen to the Criterion Collection, it's sort of like you're like in the canon of film, that your movie matters. At least that's what I feel like it is. And so we want to go through those films. Today we're going to go through Dheepan, and we're also going to be doing another part of the podcast where we also watch another movie, which is going to be The Sister Brothers, which is what I suggested for the podcast. Each one of us is going to suggest the film that we believe should be in the Criterion Collection. So these are films that are not in the Criterion Collection, but we believe that they should be. The first one is going to be picked by me, which I said is The Sister Brothers. So we'll be talking about Dheepan and Sister Brothers, both actually by the same director, Jacques Udiard. Yeah, however you say it. And it's Dheepan is the first movie, and it's about a Sri Lanka soldier.
Sri Lanka,
hell yeah, soldier who, he's fighting the war, and he's got to get out of there. So he mixes up himself with this young woman and this young girl, and creates kind of this makeshift family so they can get passports, so they can get to France. And once he gets to France, he just is kind of like a janitor in this building. There's all kinds of drug dealings going on, and basically the movie kind of turns into this family drama, but also into an action thriller, basically towards the end. And that's one of the reasons why I enjoyed it. And what I want to talk about with you guys, because it was my fourth time seeing it. This was each of your guys' first time seeing it. What I want to talk to you guys about is basically what you feel, why you think it sort of was put in the Criterion Collection. What you saw in the film that you thought really made it stand out from other films that you've seen before, basically that aren't on the Criterion Collection. So, for instance, I believe that the subject matter itself. I maybe there are lots of movies that do kind of touch on that subject, but I've never seen them, and they've never been to Cannes and won like the Palme d'Or, which this film did. And so I think that gives it more kind of a reach to other people. And since he's a French director who is kind of well regarded, people will check it out. And so that's why I did. I probably would have checked it out even if it wasn't this particular director, just because the trailer looked interesting. But again, I'm wondering, Diego, what you thought when you first saw the film, in terms of, like I said, what you thought, why it would be on the Criterion Collection. What stood out to you about it?
right? Well, I want to say I think within the first 20 minutes of the film, which is a chunk of the first part, it kind of grabs you right away. The storyline isn't it's well, how do I say, well written. It's presented very well, but not in the sense that it's kind of shoving it in your face over detail, too many details, anything like that. It
Right.
carries very well, and then within the first 20 minutes, you're kind of hooked onto these characters. The writing and the directing worked very well. It's not like something that I would say is like the best thing I've ever seen as far as a cinematography, or even like the best thing I've ever seen written or kind of like conveyed as the acting was. But I think both of those things combined made it a very special film. It's their subject that's relatable, like for me, for instance, because it kind of puts me in the sense that I'm first generation born here, and it kind of puts me in the sense of like my parents having to flee like their homeland to come to like something better, and it kind of makes you connect with those characters a little more. So I feel like maybe in the sense of it being a personal thing for most people, uh is something that made that film kind of go above maybe either other films. Like you said, there might be other films that did it, but maybe didn't do it this well. And I know if the director has other films that he's done that are pretty good. Like you said, he's pretty well regarded. But I mean, maybe this film just has a little bit more. He kind of put a little bit more of himself in it, a little bit more of the story, and I don't know. I mean, I just think it stands out in the assortment of films that I've seen, and it being also what's the word, a film that's not English based. It kind of, for me, it works. I like films that aren't very like of the norm, and this was done really well. The acting was spot on in the sense that it didn't feel like it was acting. It felt natural.
Right.
These
Yeah, all
actors are
the
very
yeah, they're pretty much either first time actors or they're not like in a bunch of stuff. Yeah, so it was very like
yeah, and that
natural
made
feeling.
yeah, maybe that's why too it did so well. Like they didn't really need much direction in what to do. It seemed like they were very reacting towards what it was about. So he did
Yeah,
good. The casting was well. Yeah.
yeah, like well, you were saying how like you I thought the cinematography was actually pretty good. I thought it was really good actually. There's one especially scene in which he they're getting on the boat to go to France, and it cuts to him in France, but it's dark, and all you see is these kind of like flashing lights sort of coming towards you, and you don't really know what it is. And then you see he's got those bunny ears on that he's selling, and him and those other guys are in the streets of France, and like like for that,
Oh, right.
like from like that sort of image of like that war that he's in where he's just burning bodies, and then it like kind of goes into like like this kind of like it's sort of sinister at first. You're like, what are those lights, like what is that? And then you just realize it's kind of goofy.
Right.
I just thought like shots like that really like
Yeah.
conveyed a pretty good like message in terms of like what the journey that character was going through particularly, like, and like because I know Nacho, you um mentioned about like kind of language barrier thing in terms of like an experience that when you had or something, like right when he talks about how he didn't understand the French joke, and that like that was something that like I mean most immigrant parents and stuff have gone through that, like they're dealing with that.
It's
Right. Yeah.
yeah, that scene where he's talking about are they funny, or is that funny? Do you find it funny? Like, kind of just like it could. I mean, it could have been two things. His sense of humor, but also being in a new country, um, being in a new country, a different culture, a different language, all that. Yes, again, yeah, it was relatable to me in the sense that um, I have parents who were immigrants. They came here to the States. I'm firstborn, first generation here. I speak Spanish. I'm fluent, but that scene. The whole funny thing is relatable because me going like visiting family in Mexico or Bolivia. I understand Spanish. I read. I write it. But sometimes like I don't get the sense of humor. Now it's not. I mean, we joke around. We make jokes, all that, but when you're trying to do it in a different language, sometimes like I don't know if it's you're just taking it too literal or what is being said, but it's kind of like hard to joke. So it was just like seeing that scene in the movie was just like it was really relatable because it was just like, oh fuck, like I've been there, which is something I enjoyed a lot about it. Just there's a lot of little relatable things, which is what was cool about this, along with the storyline. Immigrants, immigrant refugees, fleeing a civil war from their country, and I think it's kind of relatable to all of us, actually. I mean, here in the States, we had something recently, we're like, I'm not trying to get too political, but like, refugees fleeing like Central American countries, trying to come through Mexico and all that, and
Oh yeah.
and people being turned away, and it's just it happens in other countries as well, obviously, but so I in a
Yeah.
sense I think it's all relatable, so it was kind of cool to see this story, and just how it pans out, over there in
Yeah.
France.
But was there anything like besides all that stuff you mentioned that like kind of stood out to you that you enjoyed, sort of like I said, like that you saw like in the movie that you were kind of like, oh man, like I guess this is kind of a good movie, or this should be considered like.
Well, I mean, besides the cinematography that I did like, just this, again, the storyline, the development of the characters, these three characters
Yeah.
who did not know each other. Again, they're refugees. They're trying to start a new life, picking up a random girl, a random wife, a dead man's passport, creating this family. And
Right, just a regular
them,
Saturday night.
You know, just seeing them, you know, seeing the development throughout the movie, you know, just not really knowing each other, adjusting to this new culture, this new country, them growing, them developing a relationship, you know, and all that.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed all that.
Yeah. That was a really cool part about the film. Mondo, I was wondering like what you had thoughts on it, in terms of like, you know, what you saw again in the film that you thought would be, you know, that made it stand out. Like,
Yeah, the story pretty much, because I mean, it's like pretty basic storyline, you know, like these refugees are just like coming to a new place to find, you know, like freedom sort of, you know, just like any, like that's crazy that people are still trying to do that, you know, that are still you know, people when they came to America, they're just coming for freedom and stuff like that. But I mean, I mean, the story in the sense that it's kind of thin, but not where it felt stretched out, you know, because
right.
the characters and the acting make it rich and really make it come alive, like the whole story, you know, like
Yeah.
you don't know much about Dheepan's past, but I mean, you get to know it throughout, and then you get to know it throughout, like the relationship with his fake wife, which is Yolani. You know, like they both are getting to know each other. Like she's a young girl, and she's like taking care of this child that she has like no connection to, you know, other than that they're both refugees trying to survive, you know, and for like a young girl to take that on, that's pretty wild, you know, like it's crazy. That's a pretty big task, you know, and she doesn't want, and not that the character's selfish, the mom, I mean, it like, or her fake mom, it's just that she's not ready for any of this, you know, and
Right. Yeah.
thrown into this whole like mess. They're just trying to survive, you know.
Right. And she originally thought she was going to go to London
Yeah,
too.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
And then they end up in this
Well,
place, and then they
basically,
end up in France, where it's like
they're like using each other to kind of help each other out to kind of like
yeah,
get to where they want to go, like each individual character, and you kind of see their frustration with this like this thing they kind of all got thrown into, you know,
yeah,
and like it's a little bit of like survivalist, I guess,
yeah. They're
trying
surviving.
to kind of like
Well,
keep
when is it
head above
justifiable to survive and be an
water
asshole to a little 9-year-old?
and
Hey, she had to survive, so she told that little girl to shut up.
I get it, but
I mean, funny
my
if
thing
one
is
of the
like, you know, she
one
had
of
to
the scenes he
find a
just
little
gets a
girl in order
machete.
to
He's like, shut
find. No, but I mean, like I'm saying, like they had to like she had to find this little girl to seem more like vulnerable to get out of, you know, that war-ridden land that they were in, you know, and then too like them giving each character some sort of like humanistic qualities to make it seem less of a movie and more of a story, kind of put this film above too, like above anything that might be similar to it, you know. It's not just about like them getting out of war, you know, like a war-ridden country or, you know, wherever they're coming from, but it's also like them each have a story to tell.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. This is just, I mean, it's when I saw it, it was just one of my favorite movies at the time. Well, it still is a favorite movie of mine. I almost bought it, the Criterion Collection version. If anyone's listening, available at Criterion.com. Please, Criterion, let me in the closet and give me movies for free. This movie is called Dheepan. This character that we see isn't really named Dheepan. So that's what another thing I like about this movie is that you think it's about Dheepan, but it's not really about Dheepan. It's about the actor's playing. He has a different name. Dheepan was the name of the dead guy that he just used in his his passport. And so that's why I really like that change up at the end. That's another thing I wanted to ask you guys about is that change up at the end, because I think there was a lot of controversy about it. Controversy, I don't know. There's a lot of babble about it.
Controversy. Yeah.
Yes, it was very It was very controversial.
Deep in those cheeks in the shadows.
Yes, yeah, they wanted to rate it NC 7 cheeks, and No, but like I guess because what happens in the movie at the end, basically, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it. Hopefully, people have seen it who would be listening to this. Um, Basically, it turns into this sort of drug thriller. So these drug dealers are taking over like the apartment complex where Dheepan is staying and works at with his fake wife and his fake daughter, and so they start kind of acting like fools and just shooting up people, doing shit that's causing trouble, and he doesn't like it. And he was a soldier, and he decides that he's not going to take that shit no more. And I also believe that the character does have some sort of, PTSD from his time in the war, and that triggers him once he hears those gunshots, once he sees all the madness. Or and then during that ending part, he's getting drunk a lot down in the basement, and sort of singing and like crying and stuff like that. And so when he wakes up and he's being told by his wife that she's being held captive or whatever by that one French drug dealer guy, I feel like he just snapped into like this war mode. He picks up a machete. He's got a bucket full of shit that he's gonna just blow
Just
up.
soldier, yeah.
Yeah, like it doesn't even like because he's just walking up the stairs, just cutting fools up, hiding in the door, popping out. It's like it becomes sort of a little thriller. Whereas like most of the time it's like this nice sort of like slice of life sort of kind of family learning how to grow together and learn how to live in this different environment. And then it's sort of like the movie's sort of just like, hey, if this environment is sort of uh, kind of bringing you down, just we'll fight back and like fuck it up, and then you'll have like a happy ending. You know what I mean? It's kind of what the film is saying in sort of a way. I don't obviously believe that. I don't take it as that. I just see it as like a fun kind of thriller ending. So I was wondering what you guys think about that kind of change at the end when that all happens.
I think like I started noticing the change after he sees that guy that he was in the war in. Oh, after they meet up.
Right.
I don't know if he's like his general, his captain, or whatever he is. But after they like have that meeting, he kind of starts like thinking about it, because I feel like it that's what sparked him. That's kind of like the push that he had. Like he was trying to keep it cool. He was trying to learn like what his next part of his life was going to be, and then that happened, and it kind of like brought everything back almost. But I feel like his militant mind is always going. That's why he's always peeking out the windows. That's why he's always making sure. And then every time like the lady told him like we left a war place and we're back at a war, and he keeps trying to kind of sugarcoat it by making it seem like it's not the same thing. But in the back of the head, I think he knows like some shit's gonna go down. And but it is like a switch, like not very dramatic, but it is a switch, and I like that because it's almost like two films in one. Even though it's the same storyline, it made sense. It carried over well. And I don't really like happy endings, but this ending worked in some way. The way like it kind of like they were able to kind of move on from that after he had to kind of bury his demons in some way. Like I feel like that character needed to do that to leave everything out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How are you guys? What do you guys think of that switch?
I don't. It's like it didn't come as a surprise to me or anything. Maybe just because it's not like done like over dramatic or like super actiony like some 80s, 90s film. It's still like an indie movie did it. Like. I mean, yeah, he cuts the guy with the machete, but it doesn't show it like all serious, sort of like he bleeds out a bit.
Right. Yeah, no, it doesn't turn into John Wick or anything.
Yeah. He's driving that car, and he's like, he kind of just crashes it into the side of the apartment building. You can even see it. Like it's kind of like pretty sparse too, just how the story is. But I mean, I thought it worked a lot. I thought it was cool. Like, I don't know, that's kind of like, it's something different, for a movie like that to do that, or even like a foreign film,
I thought it was going there. Well, like it was heading in that direction if they didn't leave those projects, because you immediately, them being there, they were kind of like they're projects. You can tell that, you see that the people are armed and they're just kind of like,
because even when he kind of tells them, you know, you can only go in this room at a certain time. It's just like, that's kind of like
All right.
dumb.
Yeah,
You know?
and he's just kind of like
Yeah.
cleaning up after these thugs, you know, and you know they're all carrying weapons, and at first, like I think he just kind of accepts it, and he's like, these guys are just, you know, and he even says it in the movie. They're just, it's a little bit of violence, like it's nothing compared to what we've already experienced. Like it wasn't that bad. So as the movie went on, you know, and things were just kind of progressing, getting a little worse, I felt that PTSD was going to kick in eventually, especially if one of his family members were affected or involved in one way or another.
Right.
I was saying, I thought he was making like a bomb when he created the no gun zone, the no shooting zone. When he was,
Okay.
I thought that would be pretty badass.
He threw up the no flex zone for those fools.
Yeah,
and he did it with a big old line of coke. I thought that would have been funny if because they would just like watch him. Then all he would have had to do is just light it on fire, and it just leads to the building and blows up.
Yeah,
like that would have been like some wacky like Wile E. Coyote shit. That would have been real funny if it just goes there. Like he just goes out to the basement, and he just has like an AK-47, and he's just like like he just has his shirt off, and he's like running through the fucking. I think, and then also another thing that obviously helps that ending is just the naturalistic acting. Nobody oversells anything. No one, that guy doesn't all of a sudden try to be some action star actor or something. Everything's like pretty natural. It all goes in like a pretty natural place. Minus, of course, the extremely happy ending. I don't know if, you know, he would be able to drive his truck into a building, light it up on fire, kill a bunch of people in a building, and just be able to live with his family without any sort of like, he would be in jail pretty much.
Didn't think about that.
Yeah, they would be on the run or something. You know what I mean? Like, there was no way the cops would show up and be like, you know what, man, you know what, you're fine. This is fine. Like, you know,
just go to England. You're fine. Go to London.
He did it for us.
He killed all these lovely little French boys who were just hanging out. You blew up their building. You're good. Don't worry about it. Yeah, like that was kind of one of those things. But at the same time, you know, it is sort of a relentless thing that they're going through. They're literally dealing with all this bullshit. So it is nice. Like Diego said, I'm not really a happy ending guy in my movies either. But it was nice to sort of see that for this, you know, in this particular film with these characters. Because, you know, they're just like, fuck.
They had gone through rough shit, like a lot.
Yeah.
So
especially their daughter. Was their daughter there at the end? Yeah, right?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
But thrown her in a room. She was still like on the floor of a room while everyone was being murdered.
Yeah, that was one of those things where I was kind of like, man, when they start shooting, when the daughter and the mom are walking back from the store or something, and she's just like screaming, and the mom just keeps telling her to stop. Like, I literally was just like, shut up, like, you know, like I just hate when people don't shut up. When it's just like, you're literally gonna get us killed if you don't shut up. Anyway, that was my biggest problem with the movie.
Hysterical, you know.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that was my biggest problem with the movie, is that she should have just shut the fuck up. But no, I really, really, really enjoy this movie. I'm gonna I think, I don't know if you guys. I'm ready to kind of do sort of final thoughts on it. Just sort of wrap up everything. You know, if you guys have sort of anything, obviously any favorite stuff that you want to bring up, anything, go ahead and bring it up right now. Because this was a good movie, and it was nice to hear everybody's thoughts on it. But my final thoughts on it is that Dheepan is movies that everyone should see, because even if you aren't an immigrant, or don't know any sort of immigrants, I think you can still relate to the idea of, you know, just sort of surviving in general, just trying to make a living, trying not to deal with all the bullshit, with all your stupid French asshole neighbors selling drugs and driving their motorcycles around like a bunch of teenagers in the lawn, messing up the lawn, all that shit. So yeah, you know, I think people would enjoy this just because of the aspect of how it is just kind of a nice family drama where you're seeing all this stuff go on, and then boom, you get that nice little thriller to kind of, you know, it kind of like tops you off at the end. You get that action, and that's my favorite part about it. this director is a great director. He's got this sort of themes. At least in the films that I've seen, he always has this sort of theme about like families. In terms of like, I've seen Rust and Bone and A Prophet, and those are always about like these kind of makeshift families. And I don't know. I think that's a really cool theme, especially here. It really kind of shows that you don't really have to be blood to get to know each other and enjoy each other's company. You know what I mean? Even if you're kind of forced to be doing that, I guess, in that situation. But it's a great film, and I give it. Since I think we should rate stuff because why not? Nobody's gonna care.
Let's do it. Let's rate it.
But we might as well. All right, so I'm gonna give Dheepan. I'm gonna give it. Okay, so we're doing obviously 1 to 5 is the rating. From 5 the highest, 1 the lowest. I'm giving Dheepan 4.5 car bombs. 4.5 car bombs straight to the side of a building with a bunch of French assholes in it. Mondo, final thoughts.
Yeah, one thing I did want to bring up was the Godsmack tattoo on the back of her neck.
That's right. Yep. She was new metal before anybody. Yep, that's true.
You really got their message across.
It'd be funny if that was just your final thought. You're like, the Godsmack tattoo.
The Godsmack. I don't even remember one of their songs, but yeah.
When this movie came out, the sales on Godsmack CDs went up the roof just for that quick second, though.
I believe Dheepan translates to Godsmack in whatever language.
Or smack God, one or the other.
Yeah, and that's what he does. He goes right after the French Lord, French God, and he smacks up.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed this movie. I wasn't sure what it was gonna be about, or because you hear the name Dheepan, I don't know, what to think, like
right.
But like I said, the story was great. The directing, acting, cinematography, like the shots look. I don't know. They're just kind of like beautiful in their own way. Like like it gets the sense of the loneliness that they have, like when they're in France. They don't really know each other, and they're just kind of getting to know their surroundings, and just that feeling of like a new place and loneliness that goes hand in hand. And I feel like the cinematography caught that a lot. And the acting was great. The guy who plays Dheepan, the fake guy, he was good throughout. Like he was just kind of like a normal guy, just I don't know, just trying to make his way. And the mom she was good too. Like I feel like that role was kind of different. Like she was a young girl, like not that young, but still like 27 or whatever. And you don't want to be going through all that kind of shit where you're like fighting for your life, and taking care of some 9-year-old girl, like that you don't know.
Yeah, she just wanted to wear parkas and kick it with the drug dealers.
Go to college. I thought the movie was great. I would recommend it to anyone who'd want to see like a good film, like instead of like just random garbage. But I give it 4 Did Man's passports across the board.
I thought you were gonna say Godsmack tattoos. I thought you were setting yourself up for that, Mondo. Come on. We're talking Dheepan. We're talking final thoughts. Nacho, let's get your final thoughts on this beautiful, beautiful movie, Dheepan.
Yeah, so I was explaining like what I liked about the movie earlier. Cinematography, the storyline, the character development was great. Visually, it was cool. Those moments of like him like in self-thought where they're showing that elephant, which I think may represent either a god or some type of form of wisdom. Just all those little things were really cool. Again, I really enjoyed this movie. I would recommend it to people. I give it 4 inches deep and her cheeks in the shadows.
All right. Well, that's a rating system I think Siskel and Ebert can get behind, especially Siskel. Diego, what do you think? You got Dheepan in the background. What do you think of Dheepan? What are your final thoughts?
Well, couple scenes that were my favorite that I think did well in the movie. The one was the little girl beating the shit out of those French girls and those other girls. That's a very that's a very standout scene. I like that scene a lot. And also the scene I wanted to bring up earlier was the scene where you could tell to touch a little bit on what Mondo said earlier, the loneliness and like just all the frustration of these people kind of coming to I guess like coping with their what is to be a human, which was when the drug dealer and that the wife um, of Dheepan, the makeshift wife, are like talking, but they don't really understand each other, and they tell each other like their secrets. Like that was pretty cool. I like that they put that in the film. It's something I've never seen before. That it stood out to me a lot. I just kind of like overlooking it today, kind of going over the movie again. That was one thing that stood out a lot. I really enjoyed that. It made the film just a little bit better for like when they throw in scenes like that. But yeah, overall, great film. I would recommend this to anyone that doesn't mind reading and watching, doesn't mind foreign films. Some of the best
and
films
if you
are
mind
foreign
films, you're whack. You're whack.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Agree.
Get out of here. You're whack. You mind foreign films? Well, I mind you.
Icky rap.
Yeah, but I think like any person that says, "Oh, I like movies," there's a difference until I like movies and oh, I'm a cinephile or something like that. You know what I mean? Because
believe me, pal. I'm a registered cinephile. Believe me, I know.
There you
I
go.
go door to door telling everybody in my neighborhood.
But yeah, I would definitely recommend this to anyone that doesn't mind those things. It's a good movie. I mean, it has a little bit of everything, you know, action, thriller, drama, mostly drama, but it kind of touched on all those subjects.
Shadow sex.
Yeah, shadow sex, butt cheeks. I'm gonna give it 4 machetes. That's my rating.
All right, hell yeah,
sticking to it.
You guys heard it here first. The Criterion CULT is giving this pretty much. I mean, I gave it 4.5, but everyone else gave it 4.
Approval for sure.
So it's obviously a good one. I picked it. I obviously have taste, as we've known this.
Check out.
Yeah. So one of the things as we're getting into the next segment, which is where again, as I said, each episode one of us is gonna bring a film that we're gonna say, hey, we think this film is good enough to be in the Criterion Collection. We're gonna present that film to the other 3, and they're going to vote it in or vote it out into the cult. It should be in the cult or not. And we hope that by doing this over and over again in several episodes, that the Criterion Collection Company reps will give us a call and let us go into the closet to pick free movies. And maybe we'll give them a suggestion that they like, and they'll pay me.
Free or 3?
And we'll get on the supplement.
Exactly. Yes, they'll let me write an essay for Dheepan, where my first sentence in the essay is, "Damn, that shit's sick." That fool had a machete and shit. But
to put an episode of our podcast on the disc,
the channel.
There you go. Exactly.
Ooh. There you go. Yeah.
I like that. Criterion, I know you could hear this. Come at us. Not in a bad way, like to come at us in a very friendly way, and let us in. So yeah, let us in. Like, I want you guys to let in the Sister Brothers. Now, I'm presenting this movie. The reason I'm presenting it is because it's also the same director, Jack Oudard. He's back at it again. One of the things he did well in Dheepan was he had a bunch of great character moments. In this film, the Sister Brothers, which is starring Joaquin Phoenix, John C. Reilly, Riz Ahmed, and Jake Gyllenhaal, which is basically about these cowboy brothers, the Sister Brothers, who are bounty hunters. John C. Reilly and Joaquin Phoenix go around killing people for money for this guy. What is he called? Like the governor?
The Commodore.
The Commodore.
Rich guy, the Commodore, yeah.
The Commodore. And so they're supposed to be after Riz Ahmed, and Jake Gyllenhaal goes as kind of ahead of them to keep them, to keep Riz Ahmed captured until they get there, but things start to change around. Now, one of the reasons I brought this is not only because it's the same director as Dheepan, but it's also because this is a different kind of Western. I don't think we usually see Westerns like this. Maybe the only thing close I can think of is the assassination of the Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, which is an excellent fucking Western. But this sort of has more, or the Coen brothers, the Westerns that the Coen brothers do. This sort of has sort of a little bit of both of those vibes. It's a little bit poetic, but it could be a little bit funny. It could be serious, but it could still be a bit wacky, even in those serious moments. And that was one of the things that I really liked about it. I don't think we can see Westerns a lot like that. And it's his first English language movie. And usually when directors do that, they it's kind of a miss. People don't really like the movie. They say, it doesn't translate. Their style doesn't translate as well into English. But I think that is not the case here. I think it completely does. I think, especially watching Dheepan and Sister Brothers back to back, you totally see that same style, that natural lighting, everything just feeling so natural. Nothing, even though there are sort of, these beautiful shots, there's nothing that feels forced or set up. It all feels natural and flows and keeps the story moving. Every shot is significant. It doesn't ever put on something like, especially in the Sister Brothers, there's no shot that I see in that movie that is just there just to be there. It's always giving you something about the characters moving forward. So that's why I'm presenting it here. I know this was Nacho's first time seeing it, right?
Yeah, correct. It was my first
everyone
time
else, everyone else had seen it before. This is probably like my third or fourth time also seeing this. And yeah, so I'm just wondering what you thought about it, Nacho.
It was good. I was a fan
I guess that's
of.
it.
It was good. I vote out. I voted out. Not that good. No, it was. It was just funny. I think I liked the whole comedy aspect of the movie. Like the comedy was good. Like between the two brothers, it was just it had that that sibling relationship, where they're just kind of shitting on each other, and where John C. Reilly gets bit by a spider, when he's sleeping, and he's like there, like half dying, and Joaquin Phoenix is like, "You like a fucking mastiff," like just that that humor, that brotherly love between them was great. I thought between the movie, and
when he's like, doesn't he like pretend to be asleep while he's doing something? Like, what is he doing? He's like talking to his handkerchief or something like that.
Oh yeah,
and he just starts like laughing at him, like that was a really good part of that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of comedy moments in that movie just that I enjoyed. With John C. Reilly also, with I guess there was a comment made about his breath at one point. I think maybe Joaquin Phoenix said it too also. So he buys a toothbrush or someone said something, but that he has bad breath and just that being foreign to him, and then eventually later on, seeing John Morris, Jake Gyllenhaal also brushing his teeth, he was kind of like, oh, okay, like, this is cool, like, it's just those moments, the characters, they weren't, oh man, I'm sorry, I'm choking right here.
Man, you're choking up?
You're all choked up. Yeah, like the character moments like really push the story along and makes the movie richer and stuff like that. Where he is brushing his teeth and he's kind of like he's like he's not sure about it, but he sees Maurice doing it. He's still kind of new to it, but he's still looking at him of like how to do it, because brushing your teeth back then was like a pretty new thing, I guess, having toothpaste and stuff.
It is nowadays for a lot of people also.
Yeah. Going back to that.
Yeah. Another thing too, like about that scene too, is that it kind of just shows because everybody in the movie sort of goes through a change, except maybe Joaquin Phoenix. He's sort of like the same guy through the whole thing. Like he's really not. He's really not trying to like grow. Like you know what I mean? Like he's not trying to like be anybody but his drunk, crazy self.
Like he refuses to change. Actually, he's kind of like holding on the longest. Yeah.
Yeah. John C. Reilly's trying to brush his teeth, and then Jake Gyllenhaal has a change of heart and releases Riz Ahmed, and then I mean, they all kind of do like team up together,
Yeah.
Right.
you know. But eventually, like Joaquin Phoenix's greed kind of like gets them all fucking killed, sort of
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
what is the
Pours that thing.
Yeah, he accidentally like
Yeah.
dumps all the stuff like more
Yeah.
than it needs to be in there, and they
Yeah.
all pretty much just like suffer like because they're in the water. Except John C. Riley, obviously, but
yeah.
like that was one of the things that I enjoyed about the movie also is it sort of had this theme about change in terms of the character, in terms of like, can people change? Should people change? Will people change if the circumstance like asks for it? But it never like gives them some sort of answer. It never like tries to like
Right.
put that message like in your head or like bang that over in like any way. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know. What did you think of that pick, Diego? What do you think of getting that shit in the cold? Am I gonna have to push this past you?
No, I mean, I had seen it before. I liked it the first time I watched it. It was an enjoyable movie. It is a different take on Western, which I liked because a lot of Westerns, personally speaking, they're boring, and I like when it
For
takes
sure.
it
It
takes
can
a
be.
different it took a different turn. It's very rare for me to get into a Western movie but this felt a lot more like like more of that sibling, like kind of like picking on each other type of thing. Um, it seems like that was the thing that was carrying the film. It was kind of a family film in a sense of like, they're both trying to come to terms with stuff that it's kind of like picking at them, but at the same time kind of help each other out. Especially John C. Riley's character is always there for Joaquin Phoenix's character. Whether he wants to or not, he's always there. I mean, the scene where he hits him in the face with the shovel, that was basically like, all right, well, I'm over it now. Let's keep going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he was about to leave.
Yeah, I mean it is, and then like you said about family, it also like in the end, sort of like the four of them kind of have to learn how to be like a little makeshift kind of family, sort of
Right.
getting along, and then trying to get trying to not get killed by those other bounty hunters or that those people that they had like dealt with before in the town, right? Those are like the guys that like
Yeah, from
try to shoot
Mayfield
them up.
or
Yeah,
whatever that place was
and
called.
Joaquin
Yeah.
Phoenix was all drunk on the horse, and like they're gonna
Yeah.
leave. Yeah, yeah, and that's just another thing too is that in this movie more so than Dheepan, obviously, it's like I think the performances really, really kind of carry it because you have these really great actors like Joaquin Phoenix who just something like this where it could in the hands of somebody else, a lesser actor, it could just be another guy, another kind of asshole drunk
Right.
cowboy character. Is where
Right.
Joaquin Phoenix brings like a lot more like kind of heart and like depth to it. Like you see more to this character than just what's on the surface because Joaquin Phoenix plays it in such a way, And same thing with John C. Riley. I mean, he's just like a really nice guy, and like you really like kind of feel for that character, and you kind of like care. And it's because they're so good at like playing those characters. And then I mean, obviously Riz Ahmed and Gyllenhaal coming with that accent. I mean,
Yeah.
who needs a single female in this movie? Just give me all these dudes
Yeah,
frolicking about, straight up.
yeah. If this movie came out like if this like a '90s film or like came out when like movie stars really mattered, like everyone would have went to go see this, because
It would have, yeah.
John C. Riley, Joaquin Phoenix, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Riz Ahmed. Like everyone would have went to go see it. But yeah, a lot of I don't think a lot of people saw this one.
No, I think also the director kind of didn't help because nobody knew who the director was.
Yeah,
But I mean, I thought the trailer kind of did a good job of like making it seem like it was a pretty like fun comedy, which is why I was surprised a lot of people didn't go see it.
yeah,
Because I know like this this guy that I talked to online who's really into film, he was sort of like, ugh, like when he saw the trailer for it,
oh yeah,
he's like, damn, like I think Jock like kind of sold out. I think he made like a shitty American comedy. And I was like, well, I was like, hold off. I was like, I think that's just kind of like how they're trying to sell it. Like
yeah,
I don't think it's going to be like that. I think they're trying to just give you every single one of the comedy moments and like hit you over the head with it in the trailer so that you go see it. Otherwise, why would not a lot of people are going to go see some like like a western like this? Like it's not just a shoot 'em up bang bang like fun. It's not like Denzel Washington in Magnificent Seven. There's no like cool lines or like they're not like cool cowboys, who do cool stuff. Like they're all just like fuck ups and they just constantly
Yeah.
fuck up. And
Yeah.
and for it coming out as a comedy, it's that like helps, but it's not like I think if it was more of like say like the Ridiculous Six, you know what I mean? Like Adam Sandler, if it was ridiculous, people would have went. It didn't really it kind of walked that line really well in my opinion, but I think too much for like normal audiences. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they just didn't want to go see some shit like this.
So the trailer itself, again, I failed to watch the trailer for this movie. I normally watch trailers for all movies, so the trailer itself pushed comedy a lot.
Yeah, it like really emphasizes like all the moments, like even stuff that's like you know the way the trailer starts is pretty much how the movie starts, where you just see the like the guns firing in the dark, and then you just hear like it's the Sister Brothers, and it's just you know they're like yelling back and forth, and then after that it just sort of shows like every like Joaquin Phoenix like falling off the horse and like saying something drunk and like you know what I mean, like, and then it just kind of shows you Riz Ahmed and Jake Gyllenhaal, and like lets you know they're in it, but it's mostly like giving you like the comedy stuff.
Okay.
Which you know, it obviously is a comedy, but I don't think that's like what the best qualities of it were.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, what you guys think in terms of like what you would classify it as. I mean, I guess it was just like a Western comedy, I guess, right?
Yeah, but it was straight up comedy though, you know, like it was I don't know, I liked that part of it too, you know, like I like the depiction of like people in the West are stupid, you know, they never know what they're doing really. They're kind of going on like hearsay stuff or like, and even when like Joaquin Phoenix can't pronounce a word or anything, he's just like stupid. Like that's
like he thinks just because someone's smart, it's like talking shit about him.
Yeah,
because Jake Gyllenhaal's like smart, but he's not even like
he doesn't know what the word means exactly, like what words mean exactly. And like I don't know, they do that in. I feel like they did that in True Grit, like really well. Like where they made like everyone kind of stupid or like they don't know who they're really chasing. You know, like it's all this like talk about somebody, and then when they finally meet like Matt Damon, like he's just like an idiot or like you know like
yeah. The way Matt Damon dies in True Grit is really funny.
Yeah.
Yes, I haven't seen it. I'm just kidding.
Oh shit.
I haven't seen it, but I'll still watch it. This is a movie.
I mean, he's not really that big of a character anyway.
Yeah.
That's not really the one you got to worry about. It's just Matt Damon. Let him die in every movie. Who gives a shit? Well,
whenever I hear Matt Damon has a small role in a movie, I always think of his role in Team America or Police.
Matt Damon.
It's crazy that he didn't pop up in this film. I'm surprised, but I'm glad.
He should have been the Commodore.
He should have, because he was you know how he's in like Interstellar.
Yeah.
He was in this movie The Zero Theorem. He's in was it Unsane, right? He's in some other. He's in
Contagion.
Well, no, I'm talking about like the little cameos he has.
Oh, okay,
Because like in Interstellar, he's not billed. Like all the movies where he's not billed on that he pops up in.
Wasn't he in Deadpool 2 or something like that?
In what?
Deadpool.
Deadpool 2. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I was surprised that we didn't see his goofy ass pop up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
I knew about the Brad Pitt one, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, enough about that fucking Boston bitch. I was kidding. Damon, I'm a huge fan of your head. He's got a great looking head. Sister Brothers, I think, is really going to be one of those movies that as time goes on, people are going to look back and be like, oh shit, like we really slept on this. This is like literally 4 powerhouse performers coming together in the old West, playing them old shoot 'em up for us film fans, and most of us just skipped it. When we should be seeing more. If like this fool Jock, he should have another movie out with those actors in it.
Man, this movie had cool shootouts, man. Like the ones in the dark. And then the one with Joaquin Phoenix running around with that other fool's hat, the one he wanted the whole time.
Yeah, that's like probably my favorite part of the movie. That whole like shootout scene at the end.
No, it was good. It was good, especially that dark one. I'm like, do I have a shitty TV? I mean, it was cool because like, you know, you think back, you know, those shootouts, you know, they're raiding the place at night, you know, you can't see shit, you know, so all you see is the light of the guns, you know, when they're shooting and all that. But it's cool. I had to squint a little bit, but
It's
I was
not the
like,
film's
"That's
fault
shitty."
that you are going blind, sir.
It's not. It's probably just my shitty TV, man. To be honest. But
I mean, because when I saw it in the theater, it was still pretty dark. It's pretty dark scene, even with the gunshots.
it makes it feel more real, you know. Like
Right.
that's where
Yeah.
I mean, places like I've gone out to like the desert where like, you know, there's literally no nighttime. There's literally like, nothing. Like there's
Yeah,
no
it's pitch
light.
black.
Like it's fucking dark. You know.
Yeah.
To see those
Yeah,
guns light up.
And that's why I really like that beginning scene too, because it's all just natural light. Most of it is just candlelit. I think the cinematography is beautiful. The direction and everything is fucking spot on. Like I said, never misses a shot. Every shot has a story to tell and move along that particular story that we're watching. And it's just, he adapted it from a book, so it wasn't an original screenplay, which, probably explains like that particular ending, which is kind of like same thing with Dheepan, where it has a little bit of a happy ending.
Yeah.
Where, maybe that's not really how it would be, but I think John C. Reilly is such like a sweet character in there, and he sort of goes through a lot of shit too, for no reason. Like he doesn't really want to be doing any of that. He's just doing it because Joaquin Phoenix is protecting him. He's basically keeping an eye out on him, and he doesn't want to like be doing bounty hunting or killing people and shit like that. And so like to see him get a happy ending at the end of that is pretty. That's cool. That was cool for me. Yeah, so that's pretty much why I pretty much think it might get a Criterion release, because it is the director's first American film, and I think our American speaking film, and I think like I said, I think we all agree it's good enough to be in the collection, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, it all comes down to our vote. I heard they don't add them to the collection unless they give our vote first.
That's true. Criterion Collection is literally holding on for this vote of 4 random dudes from California who have no sway in the film industry or distributing films, or hell, even on Twitter. There's no presence of us. We don't exist, but they need our votes. They need this, please. They need it. That's why I presented it to you guys, because I actually emailed them. I said, put the Sister Brothers on there. They said, well, it's gonna have to go through the cult first. I said, you're right. Let's get a vote. What are you guys thinking? I mean, just let me know why. Because I really did. I picked these movies because I want you guys to like them. Yeah, obviously, I really just and it's interesting to like hear your guys' thoughts about just anything about them, like why you think what you noticed about them that's different from other movies you watch, just anything. You know what I mean? And I don't know if the Sister Brothers stands out.
Yeah, it was really hard to make an argument against it not being in the cult,
Right.
and Criterion. Sorry. But yeah, it is Jacques' first American film, pretty much, and then American speaking, and then all the actors are just firing on all cylinders. Like you can't like Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix is great. Like he could have won like an award for this one and not fucking Joker. And the script,
Amen, brother.
even John C. Reilly, like he's not playing against character, but
he should have got a Best Supporting Actor for this.
It's few and far between that he's playing like kind of like this vulnerable character. Like maybe like last time was like Magnolia. I don't even know.
Yeah, it has been a while since he's done something like stand out like this too.
Yeah.
It's mostly really just been like comedy, like
Comedic,
super comedy
like,
stuff,
performances and stuff, which he's really great in. But it's nice to see him too.
Right.
I don't know. John C. Reilly is a great actor, and he probably should have got an award for this or nominated at least.
Yeah, he should have been nominated for this. Definitely, they should have been nominated for more stuff. Also, I think like cinematography, just adapted screenplay, even the actors, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think the director too. But that might be too much.
Yeah, I don't even know. There's probably nothing really that standout that year too either. I don't think.
I was curious to see, to know what was nominated that year.
Shit, what came out that year?
Is this like 2018? This
movie? 2018.
That was the year Mandy came out, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't get nominated, but I was just trying to think of what was that. And Killing of a Sacred Deer, right?
Yeah.
Oh, damn, that was a solid ass year right there. Just those 3 movies. Boom.
Right.
Sister Brothers,
Pretty
Sacred Deer,
Yeah.
fucking Mandy. All right. So what are you guys letting it in? What's the vote?
I'm for it. I'll let it in. I enjoyed this movie from the first time I watched it. I want to just point out one of my favorite scenes is the scene where they're in the whorehouse and John C. Reilly's character brings up that hooker and
Oh, wow.
they play out that whole like, what is it, that scarf or whatever he's holding?
Handkerchief?
Yeah, the handkerchief. And he's like, okay, you say I give this to you. And you can see like that's like another human quality, like human scene quality that this director did with him.
Human semen quality?
Sure, semen. Where it kind of it makes him seem like he's nice, like he's a nice guy. Like he's not just looking to get his kicks in. He really wants something more.
And that's why that was your favorite scene, because you thought he was going to get his kicks in. You were just like,
but he
here he is in
didn't,
his
man.
whorehouse.
He just like left me at the peak, and then
yeah, he gave you cinematic blue balls for sure.
Yeah,
yeah, but but I mean, that's your fault for getting horny at a time like that. John C. Reilly's just trying to find his love. All right, this is about love. Sister Brothers is about
John
love.
C. Reilly.
Speaking of love, I'll vote this in if you give me a kiss, Jordan. No,
the COVID has spread to you.
Nah, this movie was good. It was funny. I enjoyed the acting, the actors, the development. No. Yeah, no, it was good. The scene that Diego brought up was a good, funny scene. That was a favorite of mine.
Yeah.
Also, where they're in Mayfield and they're after that, after he's talking to the prostitute, he's warned that they're going to be attacked, right? They're going to get taken out by Mayfield, the lady man who runs that town, right? And so he's trying to escort his brother, Charlie, Joaquin Phoenix, out of that town, And then right before they're about to fight, he throws up and it's like, fuck it, boom, 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 and starts shooting, like, things like that, It's just, it's a great movie. Yeah, I voted in, man.
Yeah, that's a classic scene, right? That should be considered a classic scene right there. Eventually, I believe it will.
Yeah, him
we're all
throwing
voting
up,
it in.
Yeah,
we're letting. We're letting in the
Criterion Collection. Give us a call. We've got the approval.
No.
4 boys ready to let the four sister brothers ready to let the sister brothers into the collection. All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was the first episode of the Criterion Cult. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We're going to do more, and hopefully we get better at doing this. This is obviously the first one, and I was great, but everyone else was terrible.
Thanks.
It's true.
No, just kidding. But yeah, so go see Dheepan, get the Criterion channel, see Dheepan, and see Sister Brothers. That's on Hulu. That's how we all watched it. And once you subscribe to Criterion, make sure you send them an email or something and let them know that we told you, so that they could kick us down with some cash. These are hard times. The COVID has taken all our jobs, all our families, and the Blu-ray collection is wearing thin. Criterion, send us some free shit. All right.
Yeah.
Where can people find us?
Well, we are going to be on Instagram under Criterion Cult. And once these are out, I guess we'll pretty much be putting them on like YouTube and wherever else we can. I'm not sure how it's going to work.
Yeah.
How the audio is going to be able to. But I know we could probably put them on YouTube for sure.
Right.
So we'll start off there at least. Yeah, because once all this COVID stuff, I mean, I'm hoping to get but on Instagram for sure, we'll have that, and
we'll have links.
Yeah, we'll have links, and
follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, Criterion Cult. Check us out. We've got nothing posted. Yeah, Dheepan, baby. Machete 2, Electric Boogaloo, and Sister Brothers, 2 Criterion classics. You heard it here first. Once the Sister Brothers once that shit goes on the Criterion Collection, I'm gonna brag about it. I'm gonna say that they read my email. They saw my video. They
Yeah.
read my
The only way,
tweet.
Yeah,
bro.
but we were the gatekeepers. We decided whether to let it in or not.
Exactly.
It's
that's what I'm
because of
saying.
us.
It is.
Yeah.
It will be. And yeah, but anyway, thank you guys for listening. If anybody is listening, and thank you guys for. I was trying to think of something that rhymes with listening. I was gonna say glistening. You're all glistening.
Hot.
Fist
Yeah.
in.
Hot.
Criterion Cult. Sign out.